WXYT FM HD Detroit, a CBS radio station. 97.1 The Ticket. The following is a paid program. Views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of CBS Radio, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Alrighty, good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. We have an excellent panel this morning. My co-host, Alex Nafusi.
Morning,
across
work
the way.
family. How are
there
you guys?
He is. What's happening, Alex?
Good, everybody.
Mr. Royal Oak himself and Berkeley and that whole little region over there. If you don't know Alex, well, you will after this show. He'll definitely...
I appreciate that, bud. Thanks, dude.
No worries. And we got Lisa Lawson.
Morning.
Lisa, I love having the brains behind the scene for me. Whenever I don't know something, you're the girl I go to. No one knows that, though.
You are too kind.
Yes, you are awesome. Lisa, of course, has years of experience and can answer a lot of great questions. Hey, this is going to be a great show this morning because we've also brought in Dave McClain from Keller Williams Lakeside. Dave.
Hello. Thank you for having me back, buddy.
And we won't even mention Dave because we got this really good vibe going, but somehow, some way, this nice police officer pulled you over this morning, Lisa.
This is a true story.
On the
by
way
my
here.
house.
But you told him you're coming to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, and before you knew it, he let you go. No?
Did you get a ticket or no? Did you get a ticket or no?
Yeah.
What?
You did get a ticket?
I did.
Oh,
Yes.
Lordy.
Oh, God.
Well, if you're a
Sorry,
good driver, the judge will see it your way and cut you some slack, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yes.
All right,
I have
good.
a very clean record. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
You know what, Lisa, that's funny. The studio used to be like a mile from my house. And of course, I was late because I can't make it, a mile. And I rode through a stop sign, and the police officer was like, that's a stop sign, not a yield sign.
I had no idea.
I'm like, thanks, dude. Here's your ticket.
Isn't that, then you'd end up refinancing like 2 months
I
later.
did make
Was
friends with them, yes.
Great
There's a
story.
good story on that
Yes.
one. Well, we're going to be taking your...
Yeah, little... Sorry. I think he's Sergeant Papke, I think he's...
Okay, he's still there.
He's still
All
there.
right,
Yeah,
good.
now we're
Not to him.
buddies now, man. My Berkeley police officers, yeah. All good guys, man.
You're a better driver now, though. Well, hey, gorgeous day outside, going up to like the low 60s, sunny out there. Definitely a great day to go ahead and get your house offer accepted. So you better get an approval letter in hand. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. We have people in the office all morning long, all weekend long to get you an approval at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And home purchases, Lisa, as you know, I always get a boost. Like August, September.
Yes.
It seems like there's always that last-minute push. And I got a lot of purchase agreements in.
I absolutely agree. So a lot of people think that the season's over, kids are back to school, but that's really not the case. A lot of people take advantage. They think that sometimes you can get a better deal because the kids have gone back to school and people have this idea where they have to get their kids enrolled and, but this is the perfect time to move. It's enough time before winter, so you're not moving in the snow. And
Perfect time to list, too, because a lot
yeah.
of people are thinking, I'm not going to list. Nobody's going to buy. Kids are back in school now, and that's not the case. And if it is the case that some people aren't listing because of that, then you should get your house on the market.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. 248-539-9797. Yeah, the market's been really good. The National Association of Realtors downgraded some of their figures, though, because of the two monster hurricanes. And, of course, no one's buying a house right now.
Why is that
and
shocking?
It's not
Why is
shocking
that-
at all. They had to say, wait a minute here. We didn't know people in about 4 states weren't going to be buying homes for the next 45 days, 60 days, maybe even.
Or longer.
Or a lot longer, and especially in some other areas. Anyways, we're going to be taking your call all morning long, 248-539-9797. Alex, let's start things off and go out to Detroit. We got a Craig calling in. Good morning, Craig. Welcome to the show. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was wondering if you guys know of a reliable person that can assist me on a land contract home purchase. Went through a divorce a few years ago. Not in the best position financially to put large down payment on a place, but I'm paying over $800 a month in rent, and I know that I could get something else for my money, which I'm owning at some point in time.
Well, wait. Oh, so is someone offering you a land contract?
No, I was hoping you guys could steer me in the right direction, a good, reputable company or
Now, are
somebody.
you looking for like a home that would be for sale and the seller would be willing to sell it on land contract terms, Craig?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's definitely something that I could help you out with. I've done land contracts before for my sellers. Sellers are only able to sell their home on a land contract if it is paid off free and clear, or else they have to get permission from their lender to be able to do it if they are carrying a mortgage. But I'll definitely be able to help you out and run some searches and find some properties that are out there for sale on a land contract.
Yeah, hey, Craig, where are you looking, too? What cities are you going to be looking in?
I'm looking in the Riverview, Trenton, Southgate, Wyandotte,
Craig,
Flat Rock.
here's the thing, though, man. It's pretty rare that someone would offer their home up on a land contract. I mean, you might be do a lease with option to buy, but I mean, a land. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Bud.
that's an option. I've never heard of that before, but on a home.
And Craig, how's your credit been over the last few years, the last couple of years?
It's getting better. I went through a divorce, and she just bailed on everything, and I was under hernia repair at the time.
Yeah.
And so, I took a hit, and I've slowly rebuilt it. I'm working on it presently. I don't know, how great it is. Yeah. I haven't checked it, actually.
Well,
you might be shocked. It might be.
It might not be as bad as you think, and actually, this is a perfect time to check it. I'm sure a lot of people of 143 million Americans that were had
Thanks a lot
had
for
a
the call,
credit
Craig.
report
We'll call you back.
Thanks,
hit, and so you, or possibly one of them, you should probably check, and it would be a great time to get your credit in order. So even if you're not quite ready now, you will be in, a few months here, or at least someone can give you the correct guidelines and tools, so you can be ready as soon as you can be.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Go ahead. It's pretty rare to find someone that's going to sell on a land contract. Only because when you do a land contract, you're the bank. Like, that person legit owns the house.
Yeah, the seller.
Like a full foreclosure. It's not an eviction if they stop paying you.
That's right.
Exactly.
All right,
that'd be my concern.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you have enough money, if he's looking maybe to keep his payment around the same. For anyone out there, a land contract, again, so you run into a seller and they're willing to go ahead and say, I'll tell you what, I'll take a chunk of money from you. Let's just use $100,000. And the seller says, I agree, I'll take $10,000, you owe me $90,000. And typically there's a balloon payment attached. Yep. So they say, whatever the interest rate's going to be, maybe they charge you 5 to 7%, a little bit more than where the mortgage rates are going to be. And then they go ahead and they're the bank. And then you end up making payments to them, and they got to be timely payments. But the catch is that seller, if you don't make the payments, they've got to go. They got to go ahead and hire attorneys to foreclose on you.
It's more of a risk for the seller, for the person holding the land contract.
That's why whenever I've come across them, it's always that they require a large percent down. Like Harvey said, 10% would be $10,000
minimum.
Minimum. But a lot of times it's at least 20%. And again, the higher interest rate, but usually amortized over like a 30-year to get the payment. But then usually a balloon at 5 or 10. And then maybe by that time, the reason they couldn't get financed was because their credit was bad or whatever. And then at year 5 or 10,
you can do rent with option to buy as well. So you can structure a contract where if your payment's $1,000, you can say $100 every month. It can be geared towards your down payment.
But if that seller's looking for a chunk of money out of that property at the front of it, they're not going to. If it's a rent with option to buy, they're only getting
a lot of action today.
Deposit.
A lot of action.
A lot of stuff going on in a land contract. Actually, Lisa and I were in continuing education yesterday, and that came up actually yesterday, and we talked about it. So a lot of times we'll sit down with the client and see where their position is. Again, if the credit is really, really bad, the seller's probably not going to want to move forward with you. And again, they are going to look for some advice. Although there have been plenty of sellers out there that sign contracts and don't care anything. They say, if you give me $20,000, they don't care if you default.
Right.
They'll take your $20,000, and if you default, they'll take the house back from you. All right, 248-539-9797. If you're just tuning in, it's a Hardcore Mortgage Show. We're going to answer all your questions about mortgages and purchasing homes, and also refinance, because refinance and debt consolidation is back on the table. Rates did trickle up for about 4 weeks in a row. I mean, if you don't follow it daily, you might not know that. But finally yesterday, maybe a little bit of a sign that at least it won't continuously jump up. But we are expecting the Fed funds rate to move again in December. Mm-hmm. So again, don't wait,
it's
folks.
It's going to go up.
It's definitely going to go up.
I'm telling you right now, it's a matter of fact.
Yeah, Fed funds rate goes up. Generally speaking, eventually these mortgage rates will trickle up. Obviously, they're a lot higher now since November of 2017 than they were previous. And again, although we are still at all-time lows. Hey, let's move off to another call here. We got a guy on a cell. Tom out there on a cell phone. Good morning, Tom. What's going on?
Hey, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I have a different situation. I'll just get right into it. I have a mother-in-law that is not well mentally and physically. She's hospitalized. And she neglected her second mortgage. Her primary was paid through her Social Security. So taxes are paid, primary's paid. And she only owes like $7,000 on her house. But her second, she let go to foreclosure, and Trot bought the second. It went to sheriff's sale yesterday for $31,000. And I just became aware of it 2 days ago, and I said, wait a minute, what's going on? So now I want to get the house back. How sticky is it going to be for me to get the house back from Trot with the second and first in the situation?
You got to pay it.
So I can buy. I don't mind paying it.
You got a 6-month redemption period.
Yeah, you'll be able
You
to.
have some time.
Yeah, they're not in first lien position either. It's a second lien position. So as long as that first mortgage has been being paid on
first is
time.
paid.
Yeah. Oh, it's already paid off?
He said.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
paid
first
off.
is paid off.
Oh, so you don't.
There's only $7,500 left on the first.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the second one that second one went to sheriff's sale. So, and I just wondered how I
He
would
does
get
have
it
a
away.
first then. All right. Well, here's the deal. They can't
They can't
foreclose on you because
Yeah.
they're in second lien position. But here's the deal. We've got equity in the house, obviously, right?
Yeah, about 150,000.
Tom, it gives me another idea, and I'm going to let Dave respond to this too. Is basically what I'm thinking is, I keep hearing this because a lot of us are aging. I'm aging, and we hope to age. And there's more and more. What did I say? Something like
You look
10,
good, buddy.
Thank
So
you.
you know.
10,000 people each day get to
work
the
out?
age of 62. I mean the baby boomers of my mom and such, they're getting up there in age. Anyways, with that being said, it's nicer for the younger generation to
Wait,
step
hold
in.
on. Wait, Tom's on the call.
You want time
totally
out?
off point. Tom, so there's a first mortgage on there right now, correct? And that's current.
Yes,
And there's a
that's
second
fine.
lien on there that she did not pay.
correct.
Okay, it
She's
can't
not
go to
paid
sheriff.
since 2013 on this
Can that
guy.
go to sheriff? I don't think they can go to sheriff's. They can't
For sure.
foreclose because
What-
it's in second lien position.
What county are you in? How did you know that it went to sheriff's
It's
sale yesterday?
Macomb County.
Right.
Dave Trott bought the second. There was a notice.
Dave Trott didn't buy it.
He didn't
Trott and Trott
personally
managed the
buy it.
foreclosure. Real easy there.
Well, I don't know. That was my understanding.
Dave, you're gonna be able to-
Yeah, the good news is that you do have, like was mentioned, you do have that redemption period of 6 months. So you have a lot of options. Either you could possibly
So she can,
talk with
she can package the
Capital
house and
about
sell it to me.
you could. Yeah.
I can
No,
buy
no.
both mortgages.
Yes, you can pay the second off. Yeah, You've got the redemption period. Yes.
Tom, there's a lot of stuff.
Lot of
Tom,
options.
take a deep breath here before we call you after the show. Think about this, though. Get your name on title to the house. Get someone, what I was going to say before was get someone to help you guys out. So mom's getting up there in age. I'm a commissioner. She's already neglected. A big
But
lien
she's
on the
never
house.
going back to the house again. She's hospitalized.
All right.
She's never going back to the house.
All right,
We
well,
could get it
I
sold
wanna
within
flip
the
it
redemption
where I'm at.
period.
Yeah, you can sell the house outright. You can get your name on title. You guys can turn it into a rental in the future. You can fix it all up and get your mortgages straight so that Ma could come back maybe
There's
one
a lot
day.
of options.
Lots of options. It's a good call, Tom, and we're going to follow up with you right after the show. So thank you very much.
One of the options is not losing the house. That's my
You're not losing
You're
it,
not gonna
brother.
lose. You got
Sleep well
6 months.
tonight. You're going to be fine. You're going to be found.
Got it.
We know
Thanks,
some people
Tom.
over there.
We'll see you later on.
Good enough. Hey, man, that gets scary quickly, though. Handle your folks, though. I mean, don't leave them in a nursing home when the air conditioned and the power goes off in Florida.
Got to check your mail. Make
Check your mail.
They have to deliver to you in mail, so you
Check-
better be checking it.
Check on your loved ones. What can I tell you? Hey, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Oh, man, I just love it. I can't even talk when this is on.
Bob C. He's the best.
I'm not going to sing. Hey, you're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Yeah, playing a little Seeger today. Why not? He's got one of his last shows coming up at Pine Knob tonight. And
I know Bob Seger listens to this show.
he's a Michigan
Hi, Bob.
guy. You know what I love about Bob Seeger? Not only does he listen to the show, he lives here. I mean, that's what's cool.
Well, he lives across the lake from a friend of mine.
What are the
I'm not
odds
gonna
Kid
tell you
Rock
where.
shows up tonight?
What is that?
What are the odds Kid Rock shows up tonight?
He's showing up.
Pretty good.
I don't know.
I
You
was-
call him
he's
after.
in
You got his
town.
number.
Hi, Bob Seger.
All right, 248-539-9797. Again, this is the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Give us a call all day long at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Here's the deal. You need to get a real approval letter. Yeah, that's right, folks. I'm continuously getting calls at the office. I know you are too, Alex, from real estate agents that have known that they were moving along with the transaction, and they find out 3 weeks in here that their client even can't get a mortgage because they never were really approved. They were just pre-approved. And there's another step you have to take other than just making that phone call. You got to get your documents together over to the mortgage bank and make sure that you get your ducks in a row. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll show you how to do it and how to save money. Let's move on to Mike here, and we're going to be able to help you out, Mike, from South Lyon. Good morning. Welcome to our show. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, how are you doing?
Morning,
Good
Mike.
sir.
I have a motivated seller that wants to sell me a commercial piece of property, but my credit score is not high enough to get the property. How do I go about
Buy a land contract?
buy it on a land contract?
Correct, sir.
Will he sell it to you on a land contract?
He said he doesn't want to.
Okay.
He can't be that
He
motivated
might,
then.
he might if I give him enough money down, I guess.
Hey, Mike,
Well,
give me
there
an
you
idea.
go.
Are you a homeowner now, and do you have any equity in your home where potentially you'd qualify for a residential mortgage? You said your credit's bad. What is the extent of that bad credit?
Well, I do own a home, and my credit is, collectors trying to collect bills. Actually, the two biggest ones are Dish Network and another television thing.
Mike,
Watch a lot of TV?
Hey, he watches a lot of TV. Hey, Mike, what are you going to do with this commercial building, and how much is it?
How much is it?
Yeah. And what are you going to do with it?
Well, it has about a $7,000 monthly income.
Oh, that's good. So you want to buy it for investment purposes.
So why is he getting rid of it? If he's making $7,000 a month, why the lucky guy that gets to buy it from him?
Because he's 80 years old.
Okay, there you go. Well, I think, you know what, Alex has this tremendous software that he can run your numbers through, and maybe we can give you some suggestions on how to fix up that credit. Would that be okay?
Well, that would help.
All right, good.
Alrighty.
All right, so Alex will talk to you after the show. He'll give you a call, and then he's going to give you some suggestions on what we can do to help you fix your credit.
Yeah, we know. And also, thanks for the call, Mike. We also have a handful of commercial lenders that we deal with typically, and we have a referral network.
I know,
Maybe
but
we can set them up.
This is going to go, okay?
Go ahead.
We're going to call underwriting, and I'm going to say, hey, listen, let's do this guy a favor. I'm going to try to fix his credit, this and that. And they're going to say, if the guy can't pay a $110 Dish Network bill on time, why are we going to lend him?
Well, maybe.
Well,
by
maybe
the way,
maybe they're-
can I play the other side of that coin?
For details.
The best call on Sunday is listening to Game Day Uncensored. Sundays on 97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the show, 9:19. If you're just joining us, what a gorgeous day outside. It is rocking out there. September 30th. Boy, fall is in the air, that's for sure, if you got out there. We take all your calls here. 248-539-9797. If you want to buy a house, you definitely need to get your ducks in a row. Get your approval letter, a real approval letter. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also, you can call us here in the studio, 248-539-9797. Lisa, just to follow up that last call, we were talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
The gentleman has the mom has a first lien $7,500, second lien $30,000. It's very important that he doesn't even pay off that first lien.
Correct, because that first lien is keeping that foreclosure process from happening. So he's got a first lien that's paid on time. The minute he pays that off, the second lien will move to the first position, and we already know that there's been a sheriff's sale on that. So he needs to maintain that first lien and come up with a game plan. There's still a lot of options for him, but he should not be paying off that first lien right away by any means.
And of course, anyone in that situation, give us a phone call. Find out what's going on in your family's
Right.
life. Save yourself. If you're inheriting money or whatever, find out. Do the right thing for your family. Dave McClain had the best idea. He's like, hey, if she's not coming back, there's a shortage of homes, Dave.
Yeah.
Why not get that house on the market?
Why are you keeping it? That was my question.
And get
we
the
didn't
money
find out
back
if
to the
maybe
family.
for some reason he wanted to keep it or something or purchase it himself. But if not, you got plenty of time. And if he said it was valued at 150, I hope he's not going off of his estimate. But you have plenty of time to sell it and definitely cover both those liens and then get some money for mom.
Yeah, there you go. Again, you got to put your plans together here. So much going on. We talked about refinancing just before we went off to the break there. But there's a couple new programs out that we've been using recently. The renovation loans, the 203K loans. That's actually helped. Dave and I were speaking last night for a few minutes, and I said, you know what, Dave? Alex will talk. I say that there's a shortage of homes. Alex says it's a shortage of nice homes. Dave, I think you tend to agree with that. There's no doubt, though, Lisa, we know this. We have these great renovation loans, the 203K, and then we have the conventional process. Just
There's a home style
about
loan, too. Yep. So depending on the work that needs to be done on the property, there are a lot of different options. The conventional option, people think that doesn't exist. They don't know that they can get a renovation loan and close. It's a one close, get the work rolled in that they need. There's a lot of different guidelines, but it does even allow for some self-work if they're a contractor.
Right.
And they can get the work done, get their house renovated, and it's all done in one shot.
Right, and there's some, in other words, if your house is valued at 160, you can go up to typically about 160 because there's a 10% tolerance built in. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. Again, folks, if you're trying to fix up your house, if you're not sure if you have enough equity in it, definitely call Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll show you how to do things and get things done the right way. Why not get all the work done, seal up? We talk about it so often. This is the time of the year as we're getting into the winter months that you need to do some home maintenance. Yes. Even Adam's show earlier was talking about cleaning out the gutters and checking out that furnace. Yeah, these things are all in play right now, changing the furnace filter. And really, whether it be blowing out the sprinkler hoses or whatever, you got to get the work done in the fall. And again, home ownership has some responsibilities along the way.
But go back up one second. So, Dave, what do you think? Are there shortage of houses or no? What do you think?
Oh, Jesus.
There we go.
Oh.
Well, there's 23.5% less homes on the market compared to last August right now. So there is a shortage of homes, but I know our argument that we had back in July.
But no, that's
you
good.
think, a shortage of nice homes.
Exactly.
There's less homes, so then there's less nice homes and there's less
conversation.
Terrible.
I'm just telling you,
when you picked the argument last time, so now I'm ready.
Well, yeah. Here, like when I get the thing with the houses for sale in Royal Oak, Berkeley, Birmingham, for where I do a lot of my business. There's houses. I get 70 houses.
Yeah,
I mean,
no way you get 70 houses for sale in Royal Oak all the time.
You're telling me right now
between the four cities?
Oh yeah.
Well,
yes.
Look, Alex, are they asking too much on some of them? Are some of them in really bad shape? Are these the ones that have been picked over? Are these the ones that are left?
Right. It could be, absolutely.
And that's why I mentioned to Dave last night. I said, how about an FHA 203K loan or a renovation loan or something? Again, these houses have good bones to them.
Absolutely.
For those
Great
not nice
structure.
homes that are on the market that Alex thinks you can get them into a 203K. Or
Yes.
Well, take a look. Find out what your options are. All right, 248-539-9797. A couple things I want to throw out there also. Jumbo loans, $424,100. A lot of families out there purchased over the limit in the last handful of years. And the limit was increased. Actually, was it last year or the year before? And there's so many opportunities right now. Again, find out if you can save money by moving what you might have an older jumbo loan and maybe even paying it down. And then, Lisa, you and I talked about yesterday, are the combo loans when you're purchasing a house, the 80-10-10s, is it something that you find still a strong play for some clients?
I personally do. So if you're buying a larger home, especially if you want to avoid jumbo rates, you can do an 80-10-10. They're putting 10% down. We do an 80% loan to value for the first and a 10% second, all at the same time. And it allows people to avoid not only a jumbo rate sometimes, but mortgage insurance, keeping their payment much, much lower. So for me, yes, it's come into play quite a bit this past summer. I've closed a few of them again. It's kind of becoming a little more popular. And obviously anything to get someone into a home and save them on their monthly payment makes sense.
Yeah, and create some options for any family out there.
Curiosity, you said, saves them from the jumbo rate. What is, so the rates are higher for jumbo loans?
Typically, yes.
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Midge.
Just a smidge. But also,
I know for like investment properties and stuff, it is too.
With that being said, there's no doubt too. We checked out our jumbo programs. We have quite a few of them on the purchase side. 10% purchases with no PMI, so that also is a great play. Again, we have all these different programs out there. Every family has just a little bit different situation. That's why you call Capital Mortgage Funding a real mortgage banker, because we offer every single program, and that way we can place you into the right program. Lots of interesting things to get, though. Who doesn't love to be on the good list? The good list is that we made, again, as Detroit, Michigan made it, although they dropped a little bit in the list. We made the 20 hottest markets, and Detroit right now is coming in at number 10. So a lot of cool things. The buzz is Detroit's a cool place to check out.
Comeback City.
Dude, I was down there on Tuesday night. I could not believe how busy it was.
Oh, it's incredible.
It was. I mean, it was
amazing.
I was floored.
It's a blast.
It's definitely we're back in a big time here, and again, even the mass exodus of younger generation people who are all moving off. I don't want to live in Detroit.
No, they're moving in.
Yeah, they're coming back now. And by the way, the rents are up.
Dave and I agree on something.
You guys are going to be
We're doing good. High five.
All righty, 248-539-9797. Keep it here.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 918. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Give us a call at the office, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Ronnie J., the entire staff's usually there all weekend long to help you get consolidated, show you how much you qualify for, teach you about all these programs, teach you about ways to get your credit up. Boy, if you're not calling Capital Mortgage Funding 1-800-LOW-RATE, you're probably wasting some time here. But we got lots of calls to get to, and you can be one of those callers at 248-539-9797. Scott from Harrison Township. Good morning. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Hey, Scott. What's up,
Morning,
man?
Scott. What's up?
I wanted to refinance my house, put an addition on my cottage, and I also was wondering, could I refinance my cottage also?
Of course.
Refinance a second house, a second home.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the current balance on the cottage?
About $150,000.
And what's it worth?
What's it worth? Probably about $150,000.
So you're not there's no equity to take out. There's no equity to take out of that house. What about your primary? What's the balance on the house you live in?
The house is worth about $250,000 and it's paid off.
Oh, so
there you go.
So the cottage is paid off also.
Oh, the cottage paid off. So you have there's no loan on the cottage either.
No,
okay.
Either one. They're both paid off.
There you go.
It's a very simple transaction, sir. It's super easy. There's nothing to do. I mean,
and how much equity could you pull out of the house?
You can go to 80% loan to value.
About 80%.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what I thought, because I had one company and they didn't want to give me more than $30,000.
No.
Why is that?
And bottom line is, you're going to keep these properties for a while.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to go on a fixed rate. You're going to make sure there's not going to be an adjustable rate mortgage in your future. We want to put you on a fixed rate. Rates are low right now. It's a great time. We talked about it, and no matter what anybody says, people say that I keep saying rates are going to go down. Well, in fact, this week they've gone up. But we'll get to that. But yeah, you're calling it a perfect time. You're doing it a perfect time right now.
Oh, that's great. Good, because that's what I understood too. I thought I could get about 8% out of that.
Yeah, Scott, we'll call after the show and take care of you. It's a pretty simple transaction, sir. So
yeah, I've already had it appraised and everything else. So I've been doing the legwork already.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
We'll call after the show and get you taken care of, man.
All right, thanks a lot.
Awesome.
All right, welcome back to the show. 9:30. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. This is the show that gets you into a house. That's right. Call Capital 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You get that real approval letter, and we'll teach you everything A to Z. And again, if you need some credit help because you want to become a home buyer in the next spring or even this winter, give us a call.
I like that real approval letter.
A real approval letter.
Difference.
And we'll get into that too, Dave. At least one of the things I want to talk about whenever I get you around is the MSHDA program. The state of Michigan does have down payment assistance. It's a straight transaction. They'll give you, is it up to $10,000, but $7,500 for sure?
No, they give you up to $7,500 for the purchase of a first home. So they obviously have some stipulations. It's got to have everybody that's going to be living in the home that's an adult has to co-apply and co-qualify. You have a minimum credit score of 640. And there are some income limitations because it's meant to have from low to moderate income families. But as people in the office know, I close quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Especially when people are renting. They're spending rent every month. It's hard sometimes for them to accumulate the down payment that they need.
Right.
And or any reserves or anything else. So this is a way for them to get into a home and make them a happy homeowner.
Lisa, with that being said, so if I came to you today and I said, hey, I met these qualifications. I have it. Let's just say it's me and my, ex-wife. It's me and my wife or my girlfriend or whatever it is.
Right.
And we're going to live in the house together. So both of us have good
That's
credit.
an interesting
Thank you.
combination.
They all can't live there. Let's say we all have 660
my
credit.
My wife, ex-wife, my girlfriend.
Lisa, we have 680 credit.
Walk into a bar.
So what's the income limits are similar to like the USDA loans?
Actually, they're a little higher.
Oh, okay.
And so it also depends on the number of families in the city. So they can be as low as 64,600, but they can go up into the 80,000s. And it also depends on family members. If there's 5 people living in the house, it increases the income that they're allowed.
Oh, the amount. But then again, if you have 5 family members, 2 of them are stragglers and they might not have good enough credit, they can jam your transaction up?
They can.
Oh,
Everybody
boy.
has to co-apply and co-qualify.
Okay,
so all adults living in the household.
All right, that gets a little interesting. How long from the time that maybe they call us even today and say, hey, Lisa, I want to check out this program. I want to buy a house. I qualify, but I have no money to work with. How long from the time they actually talk to us, let's say today, to when you can put an agreement together and they know that money's going to be in place?
So you have to put 1% into the transaction for them. So if they're looking at a $100,000 house, it means they have to put at least $1,000 in. Okay. Obviously, depending on the property, they may have to put in a little more with down payment and everything else. It can be gifted to them. So if they have someone that's willing to give them a gift, then we're good to go. The entire transaction takes about an extra week. So if a purchase agreement, is 30 to 45 days, we're usually doing closer to the 45-day mark to get them closed.
If your lease is coming up, you're renting a house, you're renting an apartment, call Capital Mortgage Funding. Get in touch with us. This is a really cool program. And I'm going to tell you, we have more time now. Although we're always really busy, there's no doubt that there's a little bit of a slowdown just because the kids got back to school. And now we're getting into the holiday seasons again, before you know it, Thanksgiving, and then of course the Christmas holiday season and all of that comes to play. But find out what you can do to really get in touch with things. A home's some shelter. A home is definitely shelter, but why not own it?
Correct.
And why not take advantage of still before they take away our tax deduction? Is really a powerful thing that tax deduction is still out there. It's a great opportunity.
And with the MSHDA, we've had, Lisa and I have had many buyers in the past year or two that have taken advantage of that. And really, one of the sellers was skeptical about it just because, it says they're going to be using MSHDA down payment assistance, whatever. Well, Lisa explained it to them and everything went fine. But the transaction, there was no difference in the entire thing.
No.
That's a great point, man.
I know you had said maybe a week longer or whatever, but I'm pretty sure we did it within 45 days, probably sooner. But it really didn't. There was no difference in the entire process than any other type of mortgage.
That's why it's important to have a good real estate agent.
As far as from the seller's end or the buyer's end noticing anything different. Obviously, you guys have to do different things for that process, but it was seamless. It was fine.
Well, it's like sellers that or listing agents that shy away from FHA, which they really shouldn't. I mean, it's not a big deal.
No, not at all. Although I did take a purchase agreement this week where the FHA inspection, we didn't even got to the FHA appraisal yet. He did a private home inspection, and boy, they had about 7 to 10 items that definitely need to be addressed. And
but why is it a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing. We're going to get them out there and
even
fix
on
them
a conventional mortgage, they're going to find those same things and want them fixed, probably.
Right.
I actually, it's really interesting though. If you have a house out there, if you're a listing agent and you go to a home and you see that the gutter doesn't have a downspout, and then there's evidence of water in the basement, That downspout, you can just put a downspout extender on there, and before you know it, water's being diverted away from the house, and you solve the problem.
Correct.
Instead, it's the craziest thing when I saw this picture of the house, and the gutter's going right into the basement. Sure enough, there's water evidence in the basement, and there's nothing wrong with the foundation other than you got basically a water.
What happens in Michigan?
That house was not ready to be on the market. And shouldn't have been. The listing agent should have gone over, gave their opinion of what's wrong with it and what they should fix before getting buyers in that place. And it, in the long run, would probably net those sellers more money.
Dave, we talked about it. Your
the
office
recommendations
has 200.
of the agent.
Well, Dave, you said you have 290 agents. Look, a lot of new people. 292. A lot of new agents got into the industry. There's no doubt that there's a difference. The difference is the experience. And Dave, you said it, and we know all the great agents out there. Getting the house prepared to move forward and go ahead and accept a purchase agreement and stop causing time delays and stuff. So in other words, if you're selling in Taylor, if you're selling in Dearborn, and then there's cities across, of course, Southeast Michigan that require city certs. Yeah, you get those done now. You don't list the house, get an offer, and then do the city certs.
Right. And
like me, I have a clear to close, and I'm twiddling my thumbs waiting for a city cert to come in from Taylor, from the seller. Yeah. So again, there are
that
things
should never happen.
Tell me about it. Anyways, things do happen in transactions. Get more professional people involved, and you'll have better results. 248-539-9797. Always like to take your calls here in the studio. Credit. Let's talk about credit a little bit because Lisa dropped it. 143 some million people might have had their information hacked or whatever. Someone's got my social compromised. That's a nice way of saying it. Now's probably the time to evaluate your credit report and find out what's going on. Maybe now is the time to spend a little bit of money. If they don't give it to you for free, maybe some form of, I don't want to give a commercial out to that LifeLock company or some form of credit protection or then I also was reading you could put a freeze on your credit, and that freeze may or may not be easy to remove at a later date, but definitely get in touch with the credit bureau and find out what you can do to check out your credit.
Correct.
Just had a client that had that happen with the credit freeze. I don't know if that was exactly what it was called, but he had some type of lock on his stuff to protect his privacy and that, and then he was trying to get his power turned on at his new house through DTE.
Oh, and they said
they were having a heck of a time getting the power to go on, and the sellers had already shut it off.
Definitely get
so
those.
He's moving in with no lights.
That's a shame.
Yeah, well, the thing is we have 143 million people that have been compromised, and we don't know to what extent. We don't, they say that this information is out there, but, and that's some scary stuff. So right now, everybody gets one free credit report a year. You can get it from every bureau, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and I would suggest that people request that. Sometimes it's not so much as even being compromised, but things get misreported.
Yeah.
I recently talked to someone who's like, hey, I turned in my lease, got a new car, and for some reason it's showing that when I turned my car in, that last lease payment was 30 days late, and it wasn't. Sometimes it's just paperwork not being processed in a prompt manner, and you want to make sure that everything's correct. When you go to buy a house, a 30-day late on a car payment can affect your score.
Yeah.
This wasn't
going to cost you more money.
You know what I mean? And you should be cleaning all this stuff up, once a year. Kind of do like a credit check. You do a lot of other things. You check your gutters, you get these things clean, check your credit, and make sure that you're good to go and correct anything that may or may, not affect that score for you. All
right, let's move off to some calls here. If you want to join the show, 248-539-9797. A lot of cool stuff happening in Southeast Michigan. We may even get into some high school sports and a little bit of football from last night because I know high school football to me is a sense of community, and that's what it's all about. Let's move off to Dave in Dearborn. Good morning, Dave. Welcome to our show.
How you doing?
Morning, sir.
I don't know if you read what I told your screener, though. I've got a house underwater problem. I wanted to see if you guys have any ideas for me.
What kind of loan is that?
Yeah, explain it.
It's a conventional loan. Unfortunately, it was 15 years. It was with a balloon payment that was due yesterday. And like everybody else, when the recession hit, I lost tons of money through my business. I haven't been able to make up for it. We haven't been able to keep up on the improvements, so that we owe more than the house is worth at this point.
What's the balance on the mortgage?
Balance is $120.
And what's it worth?
The house got appraised at $86.
And who did the appraisal, though?
It was an FHA chosen by a mortgage company that I was trying to work with to get a new mortgage.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, the FHA appraisers are, they're law licensed in the area, and I'm sure that's a pretty safe. Did you agree with the appraisal? Just curious.
No.
Okay, is it worth 100 then? Let's just bump you up 20 grand.
95 or 100. Yeah.
Okay, well, you're still, either way, you're still under. And currently, what type of mortgage is that you have?
I'm sorry?
The current mortgage.
It's a balloon.
So it wasn't it's not qualified for a HARP loan. You checked all that out.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so Dave, what was the purchase price on the property?
When I bought it in 1996, it was 110. It was appraised at 155.
And you owe how much now?
We refinanced in 2002 and rolled a bunch of credit line into it. That
there you go.
On the house.
So the house isn't underwater. You paid off a bunch of credit card debt.
Yeah.
You got the money out of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically.
Well, let's just say this. Why would you refinance? Why would you refinance? Are you looking for a lower interest rate or because just to pay off the balloon?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the money to pay off the balloon.
Right. I'm saying this. What if we got you in touch with an attorney that could make the phone call and potentially represent you with the lender and maybe put some agreement together? If we can do some form of a modification, is that what you would be looking for?
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm going to call you after the show and refer you to some local people who have had really good success representing families. It doesn't have to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. It could be a couple $1,000s, similar to what closing costs would be in a transaction. Right. And instead of you losing the house, they put a modification together. And I thank you for the call, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
I think we can get you hooked up. Thanks. 248-539-9797. The rates have been the shining star. When we come back, the lowest rates still in 50 years. That's right. We have the lowest mortgage rates truly ever. Yes. Great time to buy a house. When we come back, all of your calls.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Bird for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Segment 3, bro.
Segment 3, is it?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, well, 3 because we had the first one and that one we just concluded. Now we're going in the third one.
September 23rd, if you're just waking up.
How am I doing? Hey, the guys behind the glass are just cracking up.
I feel like it's, mid-June or July here, but absolutely a gorgeous day outside. Get out there and enjoy the great weather here we have in Michigan.
Can we discuss Kid Rock real quick?
No. We can, and I want to congratulations for surviving the week, and a great job by Kid Rock and his band, man. They tore it up down there.
That guy, if he leaves nothing on the table, man, that guy goes full throttle. Anybody didn't go see that the arena or that show, you're missing out, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to a hockey game in a few weeks.
That'd be cool.
On the 5th? Is that the first one?
Maybe, I don't know. Is it the 9th?
The first one?
October 9th?
Have you seen that arena yet?
I have.
Dude, that's
awesome.
That is awesome.
Salute to the Village family again out there. Hey, let's move on to Tim out there in St. Clair Shores. Tim, welcome to our show. You got a question or something going on with a real estate agent. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just, thanks for taking my call, first of all, but I'm working with somebody, and I guess the main question is it unusual to look at other houses when you are, when you've made an offer on one house? So you've got an offer sheet in.
Oh, you're a cheater.
What's that?
You're cheating.
I want to hear what James has to say.
He's being sarcastic. Sit tight.
Go ahead. So you're looking at other houses after you have an offer in?
Well, Tim, you got an offer accepted. You're moving forward with this house, correct? Are you doing an inspection and that kind of stuff?
Right. And so, but the thing is, with the house at the offer, I'm going FHA.
Okay.
And the seller is able to keep the house on the market until that inspection is complete.
So the inspection or the appraisal's complete?
Both of them.
Okay, so that's odd. I don't get that. So who's going to spend the money? And then I'm going to let James answer. Who's going to spend the money on? If you're buying the house and you have an offer accepted, you're going to spend money on an inspection. Let's call it $350, and an appraisal $500. And then what if they say we're not taking your offer? How are they going to take other offers while you're moving forward? Welcome back to the show, 946. If you're just joining us, it's a great, great day out there. I'm Harvey Freed, Alex Nafusi, and Lisa Lawson from Capital Mortgage Funding.
I'm
Call
over
us
here,
in
too.
Yeah, we'll get you in there, Dave. Dave McClain from Keller Williams out at the Lakeside office.
That's my feeling.
We're not hurting your feelings, are we, Dave? You're a real estate agent. You guys have thick skin. You can do it. Well, anyways,
No, they
Dave,
don't.
you said you were going to come up with a really good story, but I'll tell you, there's nothing could be better is when I was at a closing yesterday and just everything goes smooth and it's exciting, but I mean, look outside, and this is some great weather. Cider mills, high school football, college football.
You
We
were
have
very
pro
excited about your
football.
story yesterday.
Yeah, I got home a bunch of things I want to throw out there. We have zoos here in Michigan. We have golf courses. Did I say we have a lot of lakes? There's a million
we got
and
a
one
little water.
reasons. And
Did
I
you
think
say we have zoos here in Michigan?
we have zoos.
Like it's special to Michigan?
well, but we do have
Only state with zoos.
Yeah, there's
Okay, all right.
also a lot of zoos that
Making
you
sure
don't
we're on
even
the
know
same
about.
page.
Sounds funny when you say
But
it.
But a lot of positive things going on in Southeast Michigan. And again, I'm pro Michigan guy. This is my where I was born and raised and everything. And I think there's 8 million reasons to come here. But the number one reason is there's employment also. And there's a lot of job opportunity here. And with job opportunity comes home appreciation. And why not find out how you can get that roof over your head? 248-539-9797. You definitely want to hear from you. We talked a little bit about a couple topics here. One of them is the new tax plan also. Although the new tax agenda out there from the government says that potentially they're going to take away the interest, not the interest deduction, but the property tax deduction. And again, they're lowering your taxes on one side, and then they're taking something away. So
Taking away the deduction.
yeah, it gets a little funky out there, but I can tell you this. The interest deduction is still strong. It would be even better if the National Association of Realtors gets some high-powered lobbyist in there to make sure that never becomes an issue for us. But I don't see that going away. And someone said that it doesn't really affect home ownership. I say it does.
It completely does.
100%, in my opinion, it does, yes.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Well, I mean, that's a huge benefit to buying a house.
Correct.
And so many families at the end of the year, after they do their tax return, they get that check for $3,000 to $6,000, and that's the money they use for home improvements and keeping their house really nice and tidy. So there's a lot of reasons why home ownership is cool, and I think that's actually one of the stronger points is the tax deduction. Again, if you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage, so that's not going to help you. All right, Dave, you want to hit us with that great story?
Great story.
You're not going to hit us with it.
I thought you had the great story.
Yeah, you were telling me. Well, I mean, my good stories, all my stories
All your stories are good.
obviously.
Hey, Dave, how about this one instead?
No,
then?
but
ahead.
I think it's funny when I have a closing. Most of the time, this happens. Everybody that's in the office walking by the door, they like stop and look in because normally everybody's laughing, having a good time. It's the loudest thing happening in the building, and we just make it a good time. You're buying a house; it's a great day. Or you're selling your house; it's a great day because you're gonna go buy another one, or you're moving, whatever. So I just like to make it fun, and we usually have a blast doing it.
There you go. I mean, home ownership is a lot of fun. And when you get a good team together, that's the best part about it. Hey, negotiations, Dave, this is one thing I wanted to throw at you, is when families, they meet with you, they want to sell their house, they can put stipulations. And again, I mean, it's a little touchy here, but you can put stipulations in a purchase agreement. I mean, as a qualified listing agent, you're going to list a house and represent that house. You're going to start spending money. You're going to hire a photographer. You're going to start spending money on advertising. I put a few things, other things in here.
No, yeah,
Home
like I
stagers.
had one actually happen recently. So they weren't sure if the neighbor or the cousin or somebody might be interested in buying the house. So if that is the case, I didn't have it listed yet. I didn't market it. I didn't do any work at all, yet. And so that can be an exclusion in there that, if Bob and Sue do decide in the next couple of weeks to buy the house, then we'll sell it to them, and you don't have to.
That's a great
obviously
point.
Pay the commission and everything because I didn't find that buyer for you. You already found him. We
but you can
exclude him
have
from the
something
contract. That's fine. But if I list it and find you a buyer, then
Also, I can put something in the agreement that says, "Hey, look, I do have my, the guy next door. He said his uncle might want to buy it. You list the house. All of a sudden, they come to you 3 weeks later and you spend some money. If that ends up being the case, you can take a reduced commission on it for sure,
and
handle all the paperwork.
Yeah, and there are things built into our listing contracts, and again, everything's can be negotiable. But things that are built into ours that if there is like an upfront cost, because if I am going to be spending a bunch of money up front, and then the seller decides a month in that we just don't want to sell it anymore. Well, I'm already out $500.
So
right now.
You sign it for 90 days, though, usually, the contract? Isn't a contract usually 90 days?
Yeah, I usually do.
Generally? I mean, it's not free to market a house. I mean, I always joke that, the agents, they dig a hole to put a sign on the ground. And there's a lot that goes into listing a house. I mean, you have to market it. I mean, it's not free.
Definitely. And handling the entire process, there's a lot that goes through it. We just had a deal 2 weeks ago that all of a sudden the buyer just changed their mind. So now I gotta get my seller another buyer that wants to close right away.
You keeping the deposit?
Good thing that we had 5 offers or so. So as soon as I got the bad news phone call, I called the other agent of the second best offer and said, "Hey, is your client still interested?" So when I called my seller, I had bad news, and then I followed it up with good news, and I said, "And we're still should be on track to
Did you keep the deposit?
It was during the home inspection.
Yeah, that's fine. They did the right thing.
Yeah.
And you're more than, again, folks, if you put the money down on the house, you have a contingency phase, usually for a home inspection. Even if you don't hire a home inspection company, that gives you an opportunity to change your mind. You have, in other words, you have typically 7 to 10 business days to decide.
Due diligence. It doesn't just have to be, your home inspection.
Right. You can just decide against it. It just wasn't a good fit for you. Again, what's right and what's meant to be is usually meant to be. And that's another reason why not keep the other people around? If you're selling the house, as a good listing agent does, they always keep those other offers around. And you tell those people, look, I just accepted the offer, but again, give me 2 weeks. If something goes wrong, if they're not 100% sure, you never know what can happen.
And a lot of 90% of the time you don't hear back from them because the transaction goes through and everything goes fine. But I've had it happen to me on the buyer side too, that I get the phone call say, "Hey, they just found out that they're not going to be approved for their mortgage, and now we still need a buyer on this house." So I called my buyer, and yep, they still want it.
How would they not be approved for their mortgage?
That's the thing, like Harvey was just saying about having a true pre-approval. Like he said, if they only review your credit score and they know you have a job and they give you a pre-qual, but they didn't look at verify your assets, income.
I was going to say,
that's not a true pre-approval.
There's a handful of things that could jam you up, at the end of the deal. I mean, you lose your job, you go from full-time to part-time, you go from a W-2 to commission. I mean, there's certain things that happen, but I mean, 99% of the time, you should never have an issue halfway through the transaction and say, "Sorry, loan's denied."
Yeah, well, don't go out to Art Van and open a line of credit for your new furniture for the house that you don't buy yet, and then now you're not going to be approved for that mortgage,
leasing
and you have nowhere to put that furniture.
Leasing a car mid-transaction messes up your debt to income ratio.
People don't understand that. That's why I love it when mine and Lisa's clients, she tells them at the beginning, "Hey, I can see here that you have a lease and it's 2 years in. If you're going to be getting a new one, you got to let me know. We got to plan for that. We're not going to have this get screwed up."
I have a nice email that goes out when we send our applications.
Don't do anything.
The do's and don'ts list.
Yep.
Don't lease. I mean, it's amazing if to tell people that.
Yeah.
Don't quit your job.
Yeah. Don't switch jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I
no
changed
deposits in your bank accounts.
Alex. But I changed, and I'm going to make more money at my next job.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of things,
but it's commission.
Yeah,
I always wrote down. I wrote down a Mortgage 101. A lot of things you can do. I mean, everything comes together real quickly once you do get that purchase agreement signed. So again, before that happens, you have your funds all together. Correct. And if you're getting a gift letter, we explain that to you and you understand it. Again, you just can't have money dropped into your bank account and then tell a loan officer anywhere in the country that, hey, someone owed me money and he finally paid me back. Because ironically, it always happens that cousin or somebody that you loaned the money to always seems to be paying you back within that 30 days of you buying this new home. And that's not going to work. So again, we have to talk with you ahead of time to make sure your funds have been documented properly, they've been seasoned properly, and it's all really easy stuff, but get the professionals involved to save some headaches. 248-539-9797 if you want to sneak a phone call in. I always want to throw out that the documentation is the key to a purchase transaction going very smooth. Again, get in touch with Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll teach you all about what you need. It's usually, everything we need is usually in twos. We need 2 years of your most recent tax returns and 2 pay stubs and 2 bank statements. And again, there's about 6 to 7 items. And if you truly get those over to us along and do an application, you can get a real bona fide approval, which makes you a cash buyer, and you can close in a typical time period of about 30 days on most transaction. Some are even less. We saw some at 18 and 22 this month in September. So again, a lot of opportunities out there for families if you want to close quickly and make it happen.
It's not necessarily from a lender standpoint. It's the third parties we have to go through. Like getting appraisals takes time. I mean, it's not always the lender.
How long do we just wait for that appraisal up in Oakland County, Lisa?
3 weeks, wasn't it? 3.5 weeks we waited to get an appraisal.
How? Sometimes they're done in 5 days and then randomly,
That's
right.
insane.
Because of the fact that appraisals, right, you can't dictate who it goes to. They're randomly selected. You might get an appraiser that takes a little bit more time.
And some, this appraisal scheduled on a Monday and they receive the report on Tuesday.
It happens.
Holy cow, great.
Yeah.
Others, it's a week and a half later, you're like, you're going to do your job so all of us can keep moving forward?
What happened on that one?
It's a long story.
Oh, boy. We won't get into
Come on,
that one.
he wanted a good story.
All right. Hey, I see Pat Caputo out in the hall. He's getting ready to give you 2 hours worth of social commentary and sports here on 97.1 The Ticket. Keep it here all day long. We got tons to share with you. We got Tiger Baseball later in the day. Tons of sports and a lot of updated scores. For Alex Nafusi, for Lisa Lawson. Lisa, you're great.
Thank you.
And Dave McClain, thanks for joining us there.
You're very
Keller
welcome.
Williams.
Thanks
I'm
for
Harvey
having me
Free.
on.
We'll see you next Saturday. Enjoy your
Have a
day.
good day.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.